Hi, boys and girls. How are you today? What in the world, Miss Kathy? I have the window open and I can hear birdies out there. It cannot possibly still be winter time, can it? Well, the reason I wore all my winter stuff today is because we are going to do a story about something that happens in the winter. So I thought I would get all bundled up and we can do our story together. Now, in our story, we are going to have sheep and we're going to have a dog. Isn't that a cute doggy? But let's practice our adding first because we haven't been in school for a while. So let's practice our adding. Let's see. 1, 2, 3 sheep. I have 3 sheep. And I have 1, 2, 3 dogs. How many animals do I have altogether? 3 sheep, 3 dogs. 3 plus 3 equals, you got to shout, I have my hat on. 6. Good job. You guys are still staying pretty sharp even though you're not in school. Let's do another one. Let's do 2 sheep and 2 dogs. 1, 2 sheep plus 1, 2 dogs. 2 plus 2. 4. Let's see if you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Good job. Okay, let's make it a little harder because you guys are really smart. Let's do, go ahead, count them. Got it? Okay. And let's do, I got you now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sheep plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 dogs. 5 plus 4. 5 plus 4. You think you got it? 5 plus 4. Let's see if you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Did you guess 9? You did a good job then. Okay, let's see. Which other one can we do? Let's do. Okay, got him? Okay, let's put all of those. That's a lot of sheep. And let's add. Oh. Can you do one that hard? I don't know. Maybe Miss Kathy picked one too hard. Did I pick one too hard? Okay, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 sheep. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 dogs. 5 dogs. 6 sheep. This is a hard one. You little kids might not get this one. So maybe it would be best for you just to count them. Go ahead. Okay, did that help you a little bit, you little guys? What'd you get? 11? That's a big number. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Wow. Oh, Miss Kathy, don't give us a hard one like that again. Okay, I won't give you a hard one. Let's do, there, that's easy. Let's do 1 sheep and let's add this many dogs. Okay. 1 sheep plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 dogs. 1 plus 6. 1 plus 6. 1 plus 6. 7. Good job. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Good job. Okay, now you have to pay attention this time, okay? This is a little bit tricky. 2 sheep plus 1 sheep plus 1 more sheep Ooh, now we're doing a three-part adding problem. Ooh, 2 plus 1 plus 1. That's a tricky one. What do you think? Do you have an answer? 3,529. No. Do you have an answer? Okay, let's see if you're right. 1, 2, 3, 4. Did you get 4? Good job, because that's how many sheep are in the beginning part of our story. Remember, I told you it was very cold. And at Mark's farm, he has a big sheep farm like Charlie's grandpa. He's on his sheep farm with his daddy, and they are having the biggest storm. In fact, it's so big of a storm, it's a blizzard. Do you know what a blizzard is? A blizzard is when the snow comes down so hard and it's so windy that you can't see. Like if you go out in the snow, there's just so much snow, you can't even see where you're going. And it gets very cold. Well, they knew that day it was going to storm, but they didn't expect anything like this. And they didn't hardly have time to get all their sheep into their little corrals and into their little barns. And so they were missing a couple sheep. So they had to send out Shep. Now, Shep is their sheepdog. Shep helps them take care of the sheep. And Shep is a very good, obedient dog. And the first time Shep went out, Shep found 2 sheep. Brought them back. So this was the second time that Shep was out. And Mark was getting worried because Shep had been gone for a long time. And he called her, Shep, 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 because Mark and his daddy couldn't go out. Like you could not go out, you couldn't see. And they sure wanted to get those sheep in out of that storm. Shep, Shep. And it seemed like forever. And there was a sharp bark at the door. Ruff, ruff, ruff. Can you see Shep? Shep brought in another very wet, very cold, very tired little sheep. So now Shep has brought 1, 2, 3 sheep in. Well, good girl, good girl. Mark was so glad to see his dog because that was a terrible storm for that poor dog to be out in. Good girl, come on in, girl. But Shep didn't want to come in. Shep went over to the other barn. Well, Dad was counting the sheep and counting them, and he said, Mark, we're still missing a sheep. We're going to have to send Shep out one more time. Oh, Dad, we can't. It is so cold and so windy. We can't send Shep out. We have to. That sheep is valuable. We have to get that sheep in from the storm. So Dad started to call Shep. Come on, Shep, come. Now, usually Shep would come the minute Daddy would call him. Shep was a very obedient dog. But this time, she just didn't want to come. Shep, come on, Shep. And Mark's daddy was even getting a little angry. Shep, come on, girl. So finally, Shep came out of one of the other barns and through the wind and everything and came over to Mark and Daddy. And Daddy said, Shep, fetch. Fetch, girl, fetch. Now, Shep was acting so strangely, and Shep just looked like, oh, I don't want to go out in that storm again. But you asked me to, so I'll go. And out she went one last time. Shep, you gotta go. And obedient Shep went. Now, Mark was so worried about his dog. He was trying to think of things to do to keep busy until his doggie came back. He put hay out for all the sheep. He went up to the side barn and he put some hay in there. He made sure there was water, clean water. He filled the grain bins. He did as much as he could because he was getting really, really, really worried about his dog. And it seemed like it was just taking forever. And he looked out and he said, Dad, it's so dark. Shep is never going to be able to find her way home again. But then there was a sharp bark, and Shep found one last sheep. Oh, Daddy and Mark were so excited. They got that sheep in and took care of them, and they bundled up and they said, come on, Shep, let's go up to the house. Come on, let's go, girl. You did a good job. But Shep didn't want to go. And Shep went over to the barn instead. Now, that was really unusual because usually Shep and Mark, you couldn't get them apart. They were always real close together because Mark and Shep were good buddies. But maybe she's just tired and she wants to go have some quiet in the barn. So Dad and Mark went up to the house and made some hot chocolate, and they were so tired they got to bed and fell asleep immediately. Well, the next morning, the storm had stopped, but the snow was beautiful. Don't you love it when it first snows and the snow's all white and puffy? Well, the snow was all white and puffy, and Mark could not wait. He got before he had breakfast. He wanted to go see Shep and go check on the sheep. So he went to the big barn where Shep was, and he saw Shep lying over in the hay. And he said, "Hi, Shep. Good morning, Shep." But Shep didn't move. "Hey, Shep. Hey, girl." And Shep didn't move. "Come on, girl. Come here, girl." Shep didn't move. And Mark went over, and Shep was just lying so still. And Mark thought, "Oh, did my dog die because of that storm?" And he started hugging and squeezing Shep. "Come on, Shep. Come on, girl. Come on, girl. Please, girl. Please, girl. Be okay." And Shep let out the lightest, quietest little that you ever heard. "Shep, are you okay? Are you okay? I'll go get Dad. We'll take care of you." Oh, what a price you paid for those sheep going out in that storm just to save those sheep and these puppies. Puppies? There's puppies! Ah, puppies! That's why Shep was acting so strange. It was time for her puppies to be born. But oh, Shep was so weak. And she was covered up and she was so weak and tired. And Mark ran up to the house. "Dad, Dad, Dad, come on." And Dad came down and grabbed up Shep. Shep was a big dog. And Mark gathered up those little puppies that were half frozen. And they brought them up to the house, and they made sure the wood fire was going really high. And they made Shep so comfortable and warm. And you know what Mark thought? What a sacrifice Shep did. Going out in that terrible storm for 1, 2, 3, 4 sheep. But Shep was an obedient dog, and Shep did what she was supposed to do. And those sheep were important. Did you ever lose something that was important to you? Like maybe your favorite toy, you just can't find it, or you put something up on, you put your homework up on top of the table, and the next morning you can't find it. And you're really upset because you can't find it. It was very important to you. Well, Jesus told a story about a woman who was searching for something very, very important. Now, I don't know if you can see or not, but do you see what she has around her head? Do you see that? I'm going to show you that. Now, it didn't look like this, but it was something like this. When Miss Kathy got married, Mr. Winkle gave me a ring. Do you see my ring? And I wear that ring. That means I'm married to him. He is my husband and I am his wife. But in Bible times, sometimes a woman wore, now it's not a necklace and it's not a bracelet, but they would wear this across the top of their head, and it had coins on it. Do you see the money hanging there? Now, Miss Kathy just put pennies, but I don't know. It was whatever kind of coin was used in her city. But let's count how many the Bible says there were. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 coins. She had 10 coins on her little headdress. Now, Jesus told this parable, and he said this woman had this really beautiful, fine headpiece. But when she got up one day, one of the coins was missing. She only had 10, take away 1, 10, take away 1. She only had 9. So when she counted, we'll pretend this one's missing on the end. She only had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. She probably counted them again and again and again, and she didn't know what to do. It was very important. It was very valuable. So what do you do when you can't find something? That's right. You start searching for it, don't you? Well, that's what she did. She lit a candle and she went all through her house. She looked under all the clothes. She looked under the bed. She looked where she keeps her food. She lit that candle. She swept the floor. She checked everywhere she could think of to check for that little coin. And you know what? Finally, she found the coin. Oh, it would have been terrible if I would have lost. If Miss Kathy would lose her ring, I would be so sad. And she was so happy to have her ring back. And the Bible says she gathered all her friends, all the people in her neighborhood. She gathered them together. And she said, look, look, look. See, there's her coin in her hand. Look, I found my coin. Oh, I see where it's missing too. I see where one's missing on her head. I found my coin that was missing. I found it, I found it, I found it. Come celebrate with me. Now, why would Jesus tell a story like that? About a coin. Let's hang our coins up here. That was lost. Now, that's a story that Jesus told. And I told you a pretend story about some sheep that were lost. Do you know what the Bible says about that story? This is so fun. Listen. Likewise, I say unto you, there is joy in the presence of the angels of God. That means the angels get really happy when this happens. Over one sinner that repenteth. There's joy in the presence of the angels. Wow. Do you know when Jesus found you and you asked Jesus to save you, the angels in heaven rejoiced? They were happy. They were as happy as that. They were happier than that lady was when she found her coin. They're more happy than Mark's daddy was when he found his lost sheep. You are so important to God. God formed you, God made you, God created you, and he loves you. And when you ask Jesus to save you, heaven is so happy and they rejoice because they know there's a little boy or a little girl that understands that Jesus died on the cross for them. That they're sinners, they do bad things sometimes. But Jesus loved them enough to come to earth, die on the cross, be buried, and rise again for them. And you're like that little lost coin, and you're like that little lost sheep. And heaven is rejoicing when you ask Jesus to save you. Now, Shep was an obedient dog. How are you doing on obedience today? Are you doing pretty good? Are you trying really hard? Are you trying? Let's try our verse. All right, ready? Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Oh, it's a big word. Ephesians 6, verse 1. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Ephesians 6, verse 1. Do you remember right? Point at me. Point at silly Miss Kathy with her hat on. Now take the right one. That's the one on this side. Take the right one on top of the left one. Right, right, right. Do you remember wrong? I bet you don't. Do you remember wrong from yesterday? Make your yellow hand. Where's it go? Under your chin. Wrong, wrong, wrong. Don't do wrong. Do point right. Okay, let's try. Ready? Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Ephesians 6, verse 1. Let's try it again. And this time when you get to write, shout it really loud. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Ephesians 6, verse 1. One more time. Children, obey your parents in the Lord, for this is right. Ephesians 6, verse 1. Since we did a story about sheep today, do you remember our Good Shepherd verse? Good, good, flat hands, like you're holding a plate or a tray. Good. Remember, sheep have a lot of fur. Miss Kathy, will you please quit being silly today? Sheep have a lot of fur. Okay, and that has to be shaved off. So here's sheep, like you're cutting their hair. Sheep, shepherd, good shepherd. A shepherd is someone who takes care of the sheep. He's a sheep taker care of her. Okay? All right. Let's try our Good Shepherd verse. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. John 10 and verse 11. Oh, you're rusty out there. I saw your hands all over the place. Let's try that one more time. I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. John 10 and verse 11. You remember it now? Do you remember it now? Okay, now you got it, okay? Ready? I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd giveth his life for the sheep. John 10 and verse 11. Boys and girls, you are so important to Jesus. He loves you. He loves you on days that you're really having a bad day and mommy and daddy are getting a little upset with you. Jesus still loves you. He loves you all the time. He died for you and he's looking for you and he wants you to become his little sheep. I love you, boys and girls. Be safe and we'll see you again real soon.